LinkedIn. Yeah, we're associated with LinkedIn, and that's awesome. We're going to talk a lot about recruiting still. It's still going hot and heavy. We're going to talk about Centurine Perkins. We're going to talk about Edric Hill. We're going to talk about Peter Woods. We're going to talk about all that and more. Maybe talk a little bit about some of the other guys in the state of Alabama who commit elsewhere. Could Peter Woods be one of those guys? Oh, gosh, I hope not, but it could be. So we're going to talk about all that and more on today's Locked On Bama.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama. Luke Robinson, that's me. Jimmy Stein, that's him. Jimmy, how are you?
Oh, doing fine in a hotel in Gulfport, and 2 weeks past due getting my hair cut. Today's the first day. It's really, really bothered me, but Friday's the day. I'm getting my hair cut. Peter Woods is committing. Coincidence? Probably not.
Yeah, I don't know what the correlation is, but
me neither.
They are happening on the same day. It's a big deal. And Jimmy, I'd made a huge mistake already. I thought I could sneak in a quick saltwater taffy piece before the thing got started, and now it's just stuck to my teeth, and I hope it doesn't affect my voice. I've been in the ocean all day, still in Orange Beach. I found 35 sand dollars today. Nobody gives a dang about that, but
really?
Yeah.
That's stunning. I mean, I'm at the beach all the time. That's stunning, dude. I mean, that's the most I've heard in a long time.
I'm hoping to use those sand dollars to entice Peter Woods to commit to the University of Alabama.
It's an NIL deal if you work at if you sell seashells by the seashore.
Yeah, that it's a nautical image likeness payment. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about Centurine Perkins. This is a kid that you and I like a lot. We mentioned him on yesterday's podcast because it's one of those things where it feels like he's going to flip from Ole Miss any minute now. As you said yesterday, he's at worst the number 2 player in the state of Mississippi. Now, you said yesterday he gives you Ralph Staten vibes, and I dig that. He sort of gives me Jimmy John's vibes in the sense that he's an incredible athlete, probably the best athlete in the state of Mississippi. But where do you play him?
Right. Man, that's such a great point. And we could do a whole show on that because there's just 2 ways I feel about it. I know this sounds inconsistent, and it is inconsistent. I think you really have to look at it on a kid-by-kid basis. But a kid that doesn't have a clear position, that should give anyone pause. Anyone that's super excited about the kid, you have a reason to be, and I'm super excited about it. But there also has to be a little bit of a break. Also be, hit the brakes just a little bit, because if they don't have a clear position, they might not ever find one. I mean, each position has things required of that position. And if you don't check every box, if you don't hit all the requirements, then it may not work out, no matter how athletic you may be in other areas. So I think the fact that he could play a number of positions is fun. I think it makes him exciting. But at the same time, I'll give you a great example of a kid that was really, really good. But when we look back on it, I know he had some injuries. When we look back on it, we're like, you know what? He wasn't what we thought he was. And that's Dylan Moses, who's a little bit like this kid. I mean, who's plays running back. He plays different positions. He intercepts the ball. He returns punts. But he wants to play linebacker. And we think he's a linebacker. But, sometimes like Reuben Foster, Luke, the real linebackers, they sort of fall out of the womb, linebackers, like running back. I mean, linebacker isn't a position you play. It's what you are. But maybe that's old school thinking now. Maybe in the new school, linebackers are just pure ass athletes, So to me, Centurine is super interesting. I would definitely take him, but understand that of the 25 takes you have, there's going to be 6 or 8 that you're like, we really like this kid. Are we betting our lives it's going to work out? Don't do that. Maybe not, but you have to take him just based on length and speed and athleticism and different skill sets, and the fact that it's 2022 and linebackers have to defend the pass more often than they defend the run.
That's a great point about, linebackers falling out of the womb. I'm pretty sure that Reuben Foster came out of the womb and then sacked the placenta for a 10-yard loss. Like the doctor was like, "Oh, that kid's committing to Nick Saban."
I see him being a very physically mature newborn. He came out and was like, does a shave kit come with each room in the nursery? I got to shave.
He coned umbilical cord. All right.
Then serve drinks.
Look, this episode is brought to you by Rock Auto. With the ever-increasing numbers of makes and models, it's now impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. Why endure the often pointless or seemingly intimidating questions like, is your Honda Odyssey an LX or an EX? And wait while the person...
There's that voice.
There's that good voice.
It's the Rock Auto voice. It's the only time you ever do that voice. Is this commercial, this pitch, that's the voice. And you do voices all the time. Some of them are outstanding. Your Orgeron is like under... We should talk about your Orgeron more often than we do. But it's just interesting that the Rock Auto pitch gets the unique Luke imitation, which sounds a little bit like a bored Jeff Spicoli.
It really does. It really does. But if you were Jeff Spicoli and you need to fix your car, well, you'd want to go to Rock Auto because
he needed to fix a car. He needed to fix a car. That's where him and Lincoln's little brother should have found themselves a Rock Auto. That car would have been fixed right up.
Why choose to 30, 50, even 100% more for the same parts from a chain store or a car dealership when, you can save that much from Rock Auto? Look, a Honda Odyssey fuel pump is $353 from a chain store. It's $216 from Rock Auto. You can't beat that. You can beat an egg. You can beat a bush. You can't beat that. Right Locked On in there. How did you hear about us box? So we know we sent you when you go to rockauto.com. Amazing selection, reliability, low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. Rock Auto. All right, Jimmy, let's talk a little bit. Let's talk about Edric Hill. This is a guy that we haven't mentioned a bunch, but he's really good. Now, is he Peter Woods? Probably not. But he's really, really good, and it's not like this huge gap. And Alabama would love to have his commitment. And, he could be on the verge of committing anytime now.
Yeah, I think he's a lean to Alabama, and I think if he makes a decision this month, it's likely to be Alabama. Some of you may not have heard of him because he's from Kansas City, Missouri, I believe, or I think that's where he's from in Missouri. He's from one of the big cities in Missouri, and came to camp, and Alabama has liked him for a long time and now considers him a high priority A-list guy. So this is a guy they want. And as I say all the time about kids that aren't top 100, I know because we look at the rankings. The first thing we look at, first thing I look at. I'm not saying you guys are crazy for looking at the rankings. That's the first thing I look at. But a kid that's not ranked high, the next thing I look at is the offers. It's the offers. I mean, and by offers, you're like, well, yeah, some kids report offers and they still aren't takes. So what does that mean? Great point. But look where he's visited officially. That means you're a want, or at least a priority, because you only get 50 official visits to hand out. You're not going to hand out official visits to kids you don't want or kids you have no shot with because you only have 50 to give out, right? So he's officially visited USC, even though he's from Missouri. He's officially visited LSU, who is recruiting well because it's LSU and it's Brian Kelly. So this is a kid that is wanted by what I would call multiple elite Power 5 programs. So he's a thing. Alabama's not crazy. And then you watch the tape, and I like him a lot. But I'll be honest, if I just came on here every show and said, I love every kid Alabama's recruiting, y'all should turn the show off because, I mean, it's impossible. And so I admit I'm not as crazy about Edric Hill as I am about some others myself. I'm not saying that Alabama's making a mistake. I'm just saying I'm not as enamored, and I'm basing that on the huddle tape. But I know that Alabama is. So who should you listen to? I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I would listen to Alabama and Nick Saban before me. I'm just admitting because I think the show should be like our real opinion. We shouldn't just be cheerleaders all the time. There's other kids I like quite a bit. And I'm not as sold here, but Alabama is, and USC is, and LSU is. And, watch the tape for yourself. It's not hard to find. Just Google up Edric Hill, Missouri huddle, and watch his junior highlight tape. And, what do you guys think? And then just, tell us on Twitter.
Let me tell everybody about Built Bar now. From the people who invented healthy and tasty comes the latest gift to your taste buds. You've probably tried the amazing coconut brownie chunk Built Bar, but guess what? Your friends at Built have given coconut brownie chunk the Puffs treat dash mint. That's right, the coconut brownie chunk Built Bar flavor you love in a deliciously chewy, marshmallowy, covered in 100% real chocolatey thing. It's like a fluffy cloud of coconut brownie goodness. You can't beat that. Go to Built.com, use promo code LOCK15, get 15% off that order. Use promo code LOCK15, get 15% off that order at Built.com. All the Built bars are made with collagen protein, which your body absorbs more efficiently and provides tons of health benefits. Eat something that tastes good and is good for you. And they're using the term good in this live read. I'm going to say great. It's great, and it's great for you. Go to Built.com, use promo code LOCK15, get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCK15 at Built.com. All right, Jimmy. Look, Peter Wood's going to announce on Friday. We'll probably do a pod after he announces. And hopefully he doesn't break our hearts.
I think his announcement is like at 6:30.
Oh, wow. Really?
On a Friday. So
like a news dump. That's bad news for us.
Let's continue to be honest and say there's a really good chance at 7 o'clock on a Friday I'm going to be at least half drunk. So
let's also be honest and say that would be any Friday.
Yeah, that's right. Not the Peter Woods announcement Friday. Yeah. It's just, Friday. We have a saying around our house, by the way, y'all are free to steal this. It's kind of one thing I insist upon in our marriage. I say this all the time. It's Fridays are not Tuesdays. And I say that as I mean that we have to do something on Friday night. It doesn't have to be a go out to the restaurant, go out to a movie, go out and do something, but it has to be different. It has to be Friday night, not just any other night. So, yeah, but this Friday night is Peter Wood, so it just kind of adds. So Friday night will not be a Tuesday night.
That's deep.
So, it is, yeah.
Look, I want to talk about something a little non-Alabama here for a second. I mean, I guess it's Alabama in the sense that it's state of Alabama stuff, but Keldrick Falk committed to Florida State yesterday. Yep. And first of all, Alabama, I don't think pursued him heavily. I'm not saying that.
You've seen him play basketball. Didn't you see Keldrick play basketball?
He and his brother. Yeah.
Great athlete, didn't he?
I was excited.
Yeah, when you saw him play basketball, you're like, I want that kid playing football for my school, didn't you?
Yeah, I liked him. And I mean, if Alabama had offered him, I would have been happy if he had committed. I don't think Alabama pursued very heavily. I don't even know that they officially offered.
He probably has. He has something like an offer, I'd assume. That's probably true.
Like a hold on, and let's see what else happens offer, you think?
A lot of them get verbal offers from the coaches that are recruiting him. And whether you want to count that or not, I mean, they encourage the kids to count it. It's a thing. Basically, the way I look at those offers, and whether it's Keldrick's or basically anybody else or Richard Young, it's I call our offers as congratulations, you've made it to our board.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, that's the way I look. You are on our board. Now, if you're Richard Young, you're number one on the running back board. Not only do you have an offer, you could commit in the next 5 minutes. Other kids that have offers are just on the board, and if they want to commit, they're just going to have to wait on some others.
Anyway, he commits to Florida State. And, again, I'm happy for him. Good. I mean, he came down to Clemson, Florida State, and Auburn, I guess. And the one thing that would stick out to me, again, this is an Alabama podcast, but if I'm an Auburn fan, I am wringing my hands right now. And we talked about this yesterday that, okay, they did get a commitment from 4-star Carmelo English. I like him a lot too. If Alabama offered him and he committed, I'd be happy with that. They got a commitment from Jeremiah Cobb, who is the top running back in the state of Alabama. It's not a great year for running backs in the state of Alabama, but he's a national top 175 guy. He's a good player.
He's a good player.
I mean, he's not Richard Young, but he's a good player. And
no question.
So then they lead for Stanton Ramel out of Thompson. But if Alabama pursues, most people think he'll end up committing to Alabama. But I'm looking down the list. Avery Stewart committed to Kentucky today. There's another kid that if I were Auburn,
I love that kid. Love him. And the fact that Kentucky took him sells me even more because I'm a believer in Kentucky's evals. Kentucky seems to evaluate those 3 stars as good as anybody. And I liked Avery Stewart. And the fact that Kentucky worked their butt off to get him, I'm like, I've been right about Avery. If he's got the Kentucky stamp of approval, this is a kid that's going to be a good player.
Okay. I'm looking at On Three's top 25 players in the state of Alabama. Most are 4 or 5 stars, but there are 3 stars starting with number 21, Carmelo Overton. Now, what I want to say about that is I'm going to count them live, so please bear with me. You've got TJ. I'm going down in reverse order. TJ Metcalf is committed to Arkansas. Now, Braden Joyner is committed to Auburn. McElderry, did I say that right this time?
McElderry.
I can't say it. There is a hitch in my giddy up. McElderry. He's committed to Alabama. Dallas Young to Arkansas. Dakari Nelson to Clemson. Avery
Penn
Stewart.
State. Dakari went to Penn State.
I'm sorry. I read that completely wrong. Penn State. Avery Stewart, Kentucky. Sylvester Smith, Tennessee. Cobb to Auburn. Pierre to Bama. English to Auburn. Tamarian Parker, Penn State. Formby to Bama. Falk to Florida State. Collins leaning to Alabama, but not committed, so I shouldn't have said his name. A.J. Harris, Georgia. Vizina, Clemson. Hurley, Bama. Mitchell, Bama. Now, I read 3 Auburn guys out of the top 25.
Right.
Okay. And most of the guys on that list are committed already. Now, it doesn't mean they can't flip to Auburn later or whatever, or to Alabama for that matter. But and I know, when they commit, it can be tough to flip them. Especially like a Tamarian Parker. If Alabama really all out for Tamarian Parker, I think that he would have a better shot to listen to Nick Saban and company than he would Brian Harsin and company. So my point is, if I'm an Auburn fan right now, yes, you've got 4 commitments. They're all 4 stars. They're all pretty good players. Braden Joyner may not be a 4-star consensusly, but the others are all pretty solid 4 stars. I'm very concerned, just like I said yesterday, that the 4 commitments we have right now are the 4 best players we're going to get in this class.
I think Auburn, that's very possible. I think some kids will fall through the cracks. They'll still want to sign with an SEC school, and their first couple of options will fall through the cracks, and they may end up, quote, having to go to Auburn. And look, I say it all the time. Everybody listens to Sure every day knows it's true. I'm not obsessed with Auburn's failing. I don't really care one way or the other. I'm not saying this as I'm a Bammer, so I'm going to attack Auburn any chance I get. I'm just calling it like I see it, whether it's Auburn, South Carolina, or LSU or Kentucky. This is a disastrous recruiting cycle for Auburn, disastrous, and there's no fixing it. I think all they need to hope, if you're an Auburn fan, I think you hope for one of 2 things: that the season is a disaster and they fire Harsin, blow it up, and start over again, or Harsin has some sort of miraculous year, does great, gets everybody rowing in the same direction, and they're all unified behind Harsin. Then they could probably have a pretty good, recruiting cycle in 24. But the 23 cycle has been annihilated. It was put on life support, then taken off life support by Auburn's president. The way the coup was handled, Auburn's president saying, we're investigating Harsin. Investigating him for what? And then making it so public. It just, those kids know what's up. They know that Harsin, as of right now, this will be his last season, and they want to know who's going to coach them, at least for a year or 2. That's what's happening, and it couldn't have happened at a worse time for them, because this is a loaded cycle, and Alabama, in my opinion, is only going to end up taking 6 or 8 kids from the in-state group. I think it's a mistake. I think they should have taken 10 or 12 or 13. That's just me talking. But even if they took 10 or 12 or 13, that's 20 really good players that could have fallen into Auburn's lap, but they didn't position themselves to take advantage of it. How crazy is it that Penn State may out-recruit Auburn in the state of Alabama? Because those 2 kids going to Penn State are dudes, and Auburn wanted them, and they chose Penn State. Keldrick Falk chose a wounded Florida State. And of course, the quarterback going to Clemson would have made a world of difference at Auburn in Vizina. And of course, Peter Woods may break Alabama's heart, but not by going to Auburn, by going to a whole other set of Tigers 3 states away. It's just disastrous for Auburn. So those of you who love watching Auburn's demise, then you are living it up right now. Don't be sad about Peter Woods going to Clemson. Be happy that Auburn this is as bad as it gets, recruiting wise for Auburn. It won't be worse. The next guy, no matter who it is, he'll recruit better year one. No matter who it is, I don't care. Name a name. Art Briles would recruit better than this year one. He'd at least give, some receivers and quarterbacks still want to play for him, as long as they don't have, sisters or something.
All right, buddy. That's going to do it for today's episode. We'll be back tomorrow. Sorry about the ocean/pool hair today from me. Sorry about Jimmy's excruciatingly beautiful coif.
Flowing white locks. The envy of Santa Claus.
All right, guys. That's going to do it for today. We'll talk to you later. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.